Pove.
Wild, wild stuff. But AP, what you just said is going to be very relevant later because you're talking about the prophet like Moses, but he's going to say, and unlike Christians, Muslims don't try to distort our scriptures. Like, what? Where have you been? Where have you been? What planet do you live on? They do that. Muslims use, Rabbi Tovia Singer, Muslims use the book you believe in all day, every day against me to try to prove to me that Muhammad is a true prophet according to the Torah. So I don't know. This is going to be interesting, but let's see what he's got.
And they also argue, unlike Christians, that the Jews actually that the entire Tanakh, the Bible, the Torah, and the Bible in general, has been corrupted and can no longer be trusted. But they cherry pick it to twist it and so on. It's even worse.
Interesting, but no, they don't do any of that according to Rabbi Tovia Watch.
Every Muslim says it every day. La ilaha. They say every day there is no God but Allah. Every day, and in fact, in the Quran, this is over and over again repeated.
No God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger.
That there is no God but God. In fact, that's why Muslims are so sensitive about making pictures of Muhammad. Even though the crazies, we all have crazies, so the crazies go and
we all have gangsters,
do all kinds of crazy things. But the reason is that they don't want that people should ever deify or think that Muhammad is anything more than a prophet or a messenger of God. That no one.
AP. How many people were in danger of worshiping Muhammad because of a Charlie Hebdo cartoon? Like the people walk by and they're like, hey, look, there's something on that Charlie Hebdo tabloid there. Oh no, I gotta bow down and worship this guy.
I mean, I was around lots of Muslims when that happened, and when those Muslims saw the cartoons, they were all in panic because they were like, "I want to worship this now! I want to worship this! Somebody please put an end to it!"
They're like, yeah, at first I wasn't worshiping Muhammad; I was only worshiping the one true God, and I wasn't thinking about Muhammad at all. But now that there's a cartoon making fun of him, I want to worship him. Our point here, ladies and gentlemen, is the Muslims flipping out over cartoons of Muhammad has nothing to do with them worrying about an image of Muhammad and worshiping it. They can't stand the thought of making fun of Muhammad, because guess what? They don't just do it over cartoons. They killed Theo Van Gogh over the movie Submission, which was him criticizing Islam's treatment of women. Me and AP are under multiple death sentences for all kinds of things, only some of which would be Muhammad cartoons if we've drawn them. We've drawn a little bit here and there, but mainly it would be other things. But what do they all have in common? Lots of things that are regarded as any kind of insult towards Muhammad, you have to die for. And that does go back to the Muslim sources. When a guy killed his own slave girl, who was the mother of his children, stabbed her to death. And then when it gets brought out, hey, someone stabbed this woman to death. He says, hey, she was making fun of Muhammad, man. She was making fun of Muhammad. So, yeah, that's why that is, Tovia. It's not about trying to maintain their pure worship of Allah. I mean, think about it. It's actually the reverse, right? It's they'll lose their minds and kill someone over making a picture of Muhammad. You see, that's how dedicated they are to pure monotheism. No, that's how dedicated they are to this idol that they've come up with. It's the opposite. They're not killing over Muhammad cartoons because they're devout monotheists. They're killing over Muhammad cartoons because they worship Muhammad. They idolize Muhammad. It's the opposite. It is not this pure monotheism. They have a tremendous idol in Muhammad.
In fact, you just mentioned it, but so he brought up the Shahada, or he brought up the La ilaha illallah. So there is no God but Allah. But you just mentioned it. It doesn't just stop there. It continues with and Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. Just a quick question here: can somebody simply believe in Allah and be accepted as a Muslim or as a believer in the one true God according to Muslims? No. you also have to accept Muhammad. You also have to, aside from saying there is no God but Allah, also say, and I testify that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. Because Islam is not just about pure monotheism. All we want is just worship one God. That's not it. That's not enough. In that case, you could just choose to be I don't know, a deist, or just
the word
the
word for that would be monotheist. If Islam taught, hey, you just have to believe in one God, then they would say, okay, if you're a monotheist, you're good, but that's not a Muslim.
Yeah. In order to be a Muslim, you have to also accept the complete and full authority of Muhammad. You cannot disagree with him on anything. You cannot reject anything he says. According to the Quran, when he commands you to do something, you are not to question him. You are simply to obey him. That is a command. That is an order by Allah. So Allah and Muhammad are equally, basically, authoritative in what you can and what you may or may not do.
But AP, I've seen 1,000 TikTok videos telling me that Jesus was a Muslim. So what about that?
Yeah, in your face.
That's a good question.
Yeah, so guys, Muhammad says you have to believe in him. You have to not only believe in him, you have to submit to all of his decisions to be a Muslim. And therefore, if he decides you have to slaughter all Jews, and you don't believe that, you're not a Muslim.